Hey there, and welcome to 7 minutes of wisdom for the week. I'm going to try and keep it to 7 minutes this week. There's a lot to be said. The word that came up was light, of my beautiful list, randomly selected. And yeah, wow, there's a lot going on around that. So I really want to share, similar to last week, a little bit of a redefinition of light, just to offer us some perspective about how we, I suppose, integrate this concept into our lives, and how through shifting our understanding of what light is, we can find ourselves actually feeling a lot freer and a lot more self-connected and a lot more authentic with ourselves. So the first thing that I wanted to explore was kind of moving light, and the concept of light, away from this love and prettiness. And love is a powerful, powerful force, but it also gets very misdefined, I feel, or a redefinition of it is needed, because it's not always pretty, and it's not always sunsets, and it's not always, positivity and this light, love and positivity. These things all seem to belong together. Light seems to get grouped in more so with happiness and positivity than it does with, say, honesty and clarity. Where I feel that honesty and clarity are a lot more kind of representative of what light means. It's like you turn on a light and it lays bare everything that's in that room. It's not about illusion. It's not about this floaty, happy, carefree sense. Although there is a real sense of carefreeness that can come from connecting to the light in ourselves. However, it's different. I feel that it kind of lines up in a way with how we can often confuse love with, say, enabling. And sacrificing our own needs and not allowing someone else to take responsibility for their actions and the situation that they're in. Where, sometimes love requires us to let another person suffer in the short term. And, suffer sounds like a harsh word, but what that actually is it's a true taking responsibility for their feelings and their experience. And if we try and take that away from them by fixing their problem or making it better, we're really robbing them of an incredibly powerful lesson. And I feel the same thing applies with light. There's a carefreeness that comes from total acceptance of exactly what is, as opposed to kind of floating around in the corner of a room with our torch beam or our spotlight, trying only to look at the pretty things. We may, kind of connect that with our beliefs around what it means to be carefree. But at the same time, we're in this constant state of avoidance. We're constantly at the mercy of trying not to look at what's in the rest of the room. And so there's no true sense of being carefree there, because there's always this pull to need to avoid what's going on. So yeah, that first kind of step of redefining light, I feel, is about, seeing everything clearly, recognizing that to turn the light on is to completely accept what is, even if that might not be pretty, but that there's a much deeper, much more profound sense of liberation that comes from that. And similar to what I explored last week when we were talking about courage, there's a real sense of empowerment there. It's like you know what you're working with now. You have all of the facts, rather than just trying to be positive and not necessarily being able to come to terms with the grittier side of the situation. And perhaps the discomfort that's needed to then be able to face that problem and resolve it. A lot of us struggle with that. And it's because we haven't really learned how to delay gratification. Stunning book, The Road Less Traveled. No, it's A Road Less Traveled. M. Scott Peck. Highly recommend it. So yeah, that was one side of what I wanted to explore with light. I'm feeling very serious and direct this week, and I feel like that's definitely related to this concept of light as well, because light cuts through. Light doesn't waft around. It radiates, but it pierces through the darkness. It can be very piercing. I could definitely feel a little bit of that coming through this week. So And the other thing I just wanted to touch on before I leave you and get too excited and carried away is this treading lightly. So light in its other sense as an alternative to heavy. And this is something I've been reflecting on lately with my journey into silence, and realizing that every word that comes out of our mouths influences the energy around us, influences the energy that we put into the world. And yeah, there being a real sacredness and a real specialness in drawing our attention to that and making the choice to tread more lightly on this earth, I suppose. Not necessarily with our feet, but with our verbal imprint. Do we say negative things that don't really serve any purpose because we're not, maybe validating what we're experiencing, so we're trying to get someone else to validate our frustration at the world, or there's that other side of it where it's not an avoidance of negativity, because sometimes we absolutely need to face that in order to work with it, but it's just kind of a letting go of that excess, unneeded chatter maybe, but more so just energy that spills out in the form of words. I've done this a lot. It's been a powerful journey for me the last week to decide, is saying this going to really enhance our lives? And, what's my motivation underneath my unconscious patterns wanting to say that? So it's not an avoidance of the issue, it's just a shift in the approach towards it, rather than unconsciously spilling it out into the world around me, taking that moment to reflect and go, okay, yeah, interesting. So, a bit of a paradox, definitely, encouraging you to lay it all bare and simultaneously maybe not speak it unless it's beautiful. But I suppose there's a redefinition of beauty that needs to happen there too, isn't there? And that might have to wait for another week. Beautiful people, thank you for joining me. I've enjoyed this. It's been different. I just noticed my eyebrows down as I blew you that kiss then. There's a real sense with this Capricorn full moon, and if you want to hear more about that, you can read Astrology for the People, a written blog. I'd lost my voice this last week, so you can find that on the Heart Garden blog. Yeah, there's a bit of a sense of kind of seriousness and maturity going on at the moment. So yes, big love in all seriousness and in greatest light. Those two things so compatible. Mwah. I adore you, darling people. Thank you so much for watching, and like, share, subscribe. I will see you in another week.